Out with the old, in with the new. We are able to move forward on the exhaust on this car. So the tips, they're going to be coming out here. So I got this roughed out enough that we have the basic shape and this is correct. So I can go ahead and cut this all out, but we're not at that point yet. First of all, what we're doing is this is getting changed to stainless. So I took the original exhaust, and it is unbelievable how junky restrictive this exhaust is. So this has got a little taper with a pipe going inside, and it's all hokey wokey junk with this gasket that went over top. And in the end, this in here is like probably inch and a quarter actually opening, because this is actually smaller than 1.5 inch exhaust. The manifold is just over 1.5 inch, and it's kind of hard to get this small exhaust stuff. So this tubing in here is 1.5 inch tubing. So what I did is the manifold has a flat spot on it. So I CNC'd out a piece of stainless, 1/4 inch stainless flange, and I just got temporary nuts on here to hold it in place right now. And then I took and figured out roughly where a pipe will go across here to figure out the length of this. So anyway, this cylinder head's further ahead than this one, so this tube needs to be longer, which of course I screwed up, and I cut to the same length without even thinking about it, where most engines with banks on, one head's farther ahead than the other, and that's for crankshaft throw and so on to line up, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, I found a flex joint, which is hard to find, but this is like a little turbo wastegate pipe. I'm assuming it's a flex joint so that it can go into the exhaust of a car instead of out into the atmosphere. But anyway, it doesn't matter, neither here nor there. I am going to be putting a flex joint between. The original one didn't have it because on these things, the exhaust is just crazy noisy. Like on this one, I ran it for, the 30 seconds to move it here or there. I don't want to wreck this motor. It's getting sent out to get redone, but you run it for a very short time and the thing is just banging and twanging away because everything's moving. So this flex joint's going to be in here. And so how I figured this out is I just took and I had a 45 I cut in half. Yeah, I could go with whatever angle I wanted. It just changes where I put this joint. So I have it figured out roughly at the height that I want on both sides. I just mocked it up like this. The height that I want to keep this nice and tight, I need roughly 12.5 inches from this face to the mocked up one on this side. This is roughly 2.5 inches, so I'm going to have two 5-inch pieces and this in the middle, and then we're going to start building the exhaust from there. So we're going to be putting this pipe in the middle, and then we're going to be running, and we actually have to go up because the mufflers, I can't get small enough stainless mufflers. Everything this small is just junk. So I am actually going to wedging up to 2 inch, and then I'm using a 2 1/4 muffler because it's the smallest decent stainless muffler that's quiet that I can get. And yeah, I'm gonna just get rolling on this. I have other exhaust videos. Hopefully you'll look at that, how to weld together stainless and stuff. But what I'm going to do is I'll kind of give you, some updates as this exhaust gets built so you can see how it goes together. So originally I had said that I was going to put the expansion joint in the middle, but by me doing that, I had to lower the pipe and make it not centered in here. It would have just made the car a little bit lower in the middle, and I just don't like that. So what I'm doing right now is this side's tacked together. This is already cut out. And I have the middle pipe made, and I'll just take you over to the bench and we'll take a look at the little parts that we have there that we're getting together. here are all the little parts and pieces that we have going on. And the one thing about this little Corvair is the exhaust is so tiny. So this is 1.5 inches. To get a good quality muffler, it's kind of an ordeal. So we're necking this up to 2-inch because I can get a 2-inch exhaust or muffler that is good quality. The small stuff was all aluminized junk and not real nice stuff. So this is one piece I have tacked together, necking it up. This piece here, I have to cut a hole in. This is one of the pieces that goes from the manifold piece into the crossover H-pipe, we'll call it. And yeah, I just need to get this stuff. I've had to make a bunch of pieces for the exhaust tip and so on. But I'm going to get this stuff, keep going together with it. Now, the one thing that I like to use on the exhaust, this is not a sponsored thing, but this is the Solar Flux that I use on the inside of this so that I don't have to back purge. And you can see the use of it on other videos. The one in particular is the oval exhaust video that I have, but I'm also going to be doing more videos on probably just the Solar Flux because I like it. It really saves a bunch of time putting the exhaust together. So I'm going to carry on getting this thing going. On the little Corvair, I have to make some custom exhaust hangers. What I'm doing here is I designed this on the plasma table, gonna cut them out and start building. We have to build 4 of these, and because this is a custom exhaust going onto this car, all 4 of the brackets are gonna end up different, but that's okay. It's pretty easy to modify in the plasma to make different brackets. So I'm going to mount them on the head the same. There's one I got a little bit of curiosity how it's going to fit. We'll have to see what we can do with that. But anyway, here's a couple of them and we are ready to start getting busy building. All right, doing this roll, you can see the corners and so on kind of gouged up. It isn't going to matter. But you see how twisted it is? I'm going to have to take it over to the bench and beat it flat again, which is no big deal at all. This thing is going to look really good when it's done. Sandblasted, powder coated. Going to be a hole in it where the mount is and so on. Took this over to the brake, gave it a little bit of a tweak. Yeah, and then the rest of this is pretty straightforward. We'll just move that. There she goes. Let's try her on the car. This part of the bracket up in here, I copied the original, and this beautiful hole in here is where the gasket sticks out from the valve cover. And instead of yapping, if I would have paid attention, well, here's where the tab is on this one. That hole's off. It wouldn't have worked out anyways, but whatever. Anyway, it's going to be beautiful. The hole just doesn't make sense up there. So I'm just taking a generic, one of these stainless generic exhaust mounts, and I got to cope it a little bit more there, but this is going to get tacked on. We'll take it on there, tack it on, and then we have a mount in front and in back of the muffler, and that'll keep this expansion joint healthy here, and we will be styling. So I have more mounts to make, but that's what we're on about, is getting some nice custom exhaust mounts built for this. I think these little mounts turned out pretty good. They look good. They're gonna have to be powder coated and so on, but that's later on, because I do have to do a little bit of slotting on one of them and whatever, but I don't want to do that until after the engine is in it. Now, one back there is tiny way up inside. Hard to really see, but it's up there. It's nice that I could use factory bolts and so on. I'd like to give you, I guess, a view, so we'll try going down here. My favorite spot on the floor. Anyway, there is the exhaust tacked together. Has to come out, be welded out now, but I think it's turned out pretty good. So a couple more things that we have to do. Hopefully you'll check that out. I'm gonna weld out the exhaust, and it's gonna get polished. I'm not sure when, but the mufflers, they're pretty dull, and so we want to polish those. But one of the other things that we're gonna have to deal with, if you take a look up here, we have a heat problem. So I'm gonna have to put some heat protectant up here, but I'm also gonna build a heat shroud here. This is the engine seal that is supposed to help cooling of this thing. So I think we want to make sure that that is preserved and not wrecked. So hope you'll join me on a video of rolling a heat shield for this muffler. Thank you so much for watching this video. And as we got things all mocked up, well, you can see we've jumped ahead. It's installed, welded up. We won't get too many pictures of that real close, but we also have the exhaust shields on. So go check that video out, because we released a long time ago. There is also videos on the disc brake conversion, but in the next video, we are going to be welding this out and showing you how that process goes, as well as really exciting. There's a whole bunch of fuel injection videos coming up. I'm hoping that you will check those out. They're pretty awesome. I'm excited. We've built a whole bunch of content for that. It's taken a while to get that stuff out there because it's very complex. So those videos will be able to show you how to fuel inject whatever you're wanting to fuel inject. Anyways, thank you so much. Please like, share, and subscribe.